Kelsier might be the most beloved character introduction Brandon Sanderson has ever written. Charming, funny, impossible not to root for. He might also be a fanatic, a manipulator, and a genuinely dangerous man. And the part that gets me is that those aren't competing readings. You don't have to pick. That's the episode. There's a reading of this book. I've seen it from a few different people online, not mainstream, but not fringe either, where Kelsier is essentially the villain. Not the Lord Ruler, not the Steel Ministry. Kelsier. And I don't think that's right. But I think it's asking a real question and it deserves a real answer.
Okay, here's where I land before we dig in. I think he's a hero. Absolutely the hero of this book. But I also think Sanderson is showing us very specifically what it costs to be that kind of hero. What it does to you. What it requires you to believe about the world and about yourself. And that's uncomfortable in a way that feels intentional, not accidental.
The Survivor. That's his name, his title, his legend, the Survivor. And I think that word is doing more work than it looks like.
Because he's not just someone who survived. He's someone who took being a survivor and made it into an identity. A movement. A religion, kind of.
A religion, yes. And that's not metaphorical. By the end of the book, okay, we're going full spoilers very fast. We can't help it with this one. If you haven't read The Final Empire, please go do that first. We'll be here. By the end, Kelsier is essentially building the framework for his own martyrdom. And it's not accidental. He knows what he's doing. He plans for it.
He plans for it.
He plans to die in a way that makes him useful to the revolution afterward. That is a very specific kind of person. And I think the book wants you to find that both inspiring and horrifying in the same breath.
It finds me horrifying and inspiring simultaneously, every time. It's like he is the most compelling argument for his own cause and the scariest proof that the cause is real. And I don't know how to hold both of those things, except I apparently just do, because the book makes me.
Okay, but here's what I actually want to dig into, because this is the thing that has been rolling around in my head since my last reread. How does the text get you to love him before it asks you to interrogate him? That's a deliberate choice. Sanderson does not lead with the uncomfortable questions. He waits. He makes sure you're completely on board. And then he starts tipping things over.
The structural order matters.
The structural order is everything. And I think that's the most interesting thing about The Final Empire as a reading experience. Because the answer to, what do you think about Kelsier, changes entirely depending on when you're asked. Chapter 7 versus Chapter 25 versus after you've finished Secret History.
Someone on Reddit put it really well. I saw this maybe a month ago. They said Kelsier is the first character Sanderson wrote who is genuinely more interesting on the reread than the first read. First read, he's your hero. Second read, he's your warning sign.
That's exactly right. And that's rare. Most Sanderson characters are better first read. You're discovering them. But Kelsier is better when you already know. Because you can see the machinery. You can see how the trick works and it still works on you. That's actually more impressive.
Okay, but before we go full analytical about him, can I just, for 1 second, talk about the fact that this man pulls a coin out of thin air, launches himself through a window, lands like it's nothing, and goes, "Hi, I'm Kelsier, the most dangerous man in the Empire. Want to join a heist?" And he is just objectively, undeniably, embarrassingly cool.
He's very cool.
He is so cool.
He's extremely cool. That's the entire point. The cool is the argument.
Wait, say that again.
The cool is the argument. Kelsier doesn't win people over with logic. He wins them over with style, with presence, with the confidence of someone who has already decided that he's going to win, and all that remains is convincing everyone else. And that is a form of charisma that is genuinely dangerous, not because it's false, but because it's true. He really is that capable, which is what makes him scary.
Because if he were a fraud, it would be easy to dismiss him.
But he's not a fraud. He actually can do everything he says he can do. And that's the most terrifying version of that character type. You can't call him out. You can't point to the gap between the performance and the reality. The performance is the reality. That's the whole thing.
Okay,